Hello, Newport, and welcome to From the Desk of the Mayor. I am honored today to have joining me our police chief from Newport City. Thank you, Travis, for joining me today.
Absolutely.
I have been receiving some questions about safety within Newport due to the current changes of the guard, okay, and different mandates and that are coming down federally. And so I wanted to get your perspective, and I know certain things, of course, cannot be revealed professionally, but I would like to get your perspective on how to assure our citizens, our residents of Newport, that they don't have to live in fear and that they shouldn't just pay attention to what's on social media, and that if they have any questions, they should come to us.
Yeah, for sure. So the political environment right now obviously is a pretty hot topic, right? And I think everyone's, excuse me, is a little bit on edge in regards to that. What I can tell you is that the police department in the city of Newport, daily operations and functions are to make sure the public is safe and the community is safe, and that's what we do every day. We do not get involved with federal immigration authorities. We leave that up to the federal agencies to take care of that. If you're a civilian in the city of Newport, if you're a community member, if you live here, we are going to treat you like any other citizen, and we are going to make sure that you're safe and everything is secure on our end, and that's our function as the police department.
So if somebody believes that they are being questioned by someone and they're not sure who it is, or somebody just comes over to them, and you may not know the answer to this, what should they do? I mean, my thought is that you should definitely not react and you shouldn't become abrasive.
Right.
You should inquire, but I'm sure there's rights, and they should reach out to your department if it has to do with city issues.
Yeah, for sure. They can always reach out, and I'd be more than happy to answer questions if they have them. If they're being questioned by somebody that they don't think is any kind of agent or has any kind of authority to do so, then certainly reach out to us, and we'll try to get to the bottom and see what agency it is. If it is an agency, if it's an agent maybe with the federal government, and what it might be, we certainly can try to find that information out for them. But yeah, I mean, I think just given the nature of where we live, we are not technically a border town, but we're in the close proximity of the border, and there is agents that live in our community, and there is federal authorities that are, mixed in and out of our community on a daily basis. So I think people need to not fear of their citizenship and whether or not they're going to be questioned by the police, because we're certainly not going to do that. We can't do that. But if you do have reserves or you're fearful, certainly reach out, and we'll try to assist in any way that we can.
Are you able to speak about the situation that occurred, that recently occurred? Are you all right talking as much as you can about that, so that the people can understand what happened?
Yeah, obviously it's still an active investigation by the FBI. First off, I want to say condolences to the Malin family. It was a tragic incident that happened, and that agent lost his life doing the course of his duty to protect and serve his country. And I just want to say we're all feeling the effects of that. It's a small community, it's a small area. The trickle-down effect of that incident is still going on in the community. I think we tend to dehumanize the badge, per se. When we think of a police officer, we think that they just put the uniform on, they turn into robots, and they go out and do this. Well, we're people, too, that live in the same community. We have kids in the school system, and it's no different for any of the agents on Border Patrol, Customs, State Police, Orleans County Sheriff's, or Newport Police Department. We're a very small community. We know everybody, and this tragedy has had a huge impact on everybody involved in this in the area. I can't speak too much about the investigation. The FBI is taking the lead on that. They are still actively investigating that. You've probably read articles online from the Diggers, put some articles out about the nuances behind the people that were involved in this, and kind of the background there. And I think it's just one of those things that we'll reiterate is if you see something, you need to say something to the police, right? If something doesn't look right, if something looks out of place, and it can be anything, if you see something, you need to say something. And I can assure you that we still get up every day and put this uniform on, and we'll do what we can to protect and serve the community, and ultimately that means making the ultimate sacrifice, and that's exactly what happened in this scenario. And we thank him for his service. So just know that, you know, we are ready to go. We're here to keep the people in the community safe, and I know it's been a little crazy, I guess, with all the rumors and stuff that I've been hearing, and just trying to put some of those to rest. However, it's a good opportunity as well for an educational approach of, it's not going to happen here. Well, it did happen here, right? So we just have to make sure that we're all doing our part. And if you see something, you need to report it to the police and let us handle it from there. And we'll deal with it the best we can to try to keep everybody in the community safe.
The key word that I picked up from you right now is compassion. Mm-hmm. And I know that when you all put your uniforms on, you go out there, enforcement, and you're there to protect. But I think I have seen, getting to know this department, I know that compassion is the root of how you go out and enforce. So it's not robotic. People should understand that you're approachable.
Yes.
And when you say come and talk, or if you see something, they should reach out to you, I'd like to impress that that's what they should do. They shouldn't take matters into their own hands.
Yes, correct.
Okay, because then they are putting not only themselves in danger, but they probably a possible victim or anybody out there, any other passerby. So please do reach out to our police team, because they are probably the most compassionate humans out there, because they also have to push that down and then go out and on the other spectrum enforce the law.
Right.
And that is a very difficult job, but well done, and I thank you for that. So we do have a Stone Garden grant. Could you tell the people a little bit about that, like, you know, what we get from that and why it's important for us?
Yeah, so it's a federal grant program we've been involved in since my time has been here at the police station, and it allots monies for us to go out on details to fill the gaps for Border Patrol, and it's to gather intelligence to relate back to them. As you know, the border is very porous. It's rural up here. It's hard to cover the gaps. Their staffing is limited, and we try to fill in some of those gaps for gathering intelligence and things like that, and that's what the program is funded for. We get a lot of equipment through that as well. It's like our PD boat when we're out on the water, that's funded through the grant program. Our ATVs, that's all funded through the grant program, and those kinds of things. And we go out to try to gather some intelligence to relay back, and that's what the program is designed to do.
Yeah, and I'm thankful for that, and you're doing great with that, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little about the Skate with a Cop.
Yeah.
Do you mind doing that?
Yeah, no, not at all. So, like, there's a couple events coming up, actually. So, February 20th, we have the Skate with a Cop event at Gardner Park. So, anybody can come down. It's open to the public. Come on down. It's from 4 to 6. It's a Thursday evening. We'll have hot chocolate there. Have some T-shirts to give away. Yeah, just a good try to community outreach and have people come down, skate around with us. We're not very good skaters ourselves, so don't laugh if we fall on the ice. But anyways, it's just a good time in trying to reach out and connect with some of the community so they can see the other side of us, right? Like
the compassionate side,
exactly,
the human side.
Because I think there's more of that side than people realize, and it'll just be a fun event. So hopefully you can make it down there. I will put out, it's on our Facebook page right now, but I'll put out another reminder for next week, but that's the plan for that.
Okay, any other events coming up?
So the other event is actually going to be a benefit hockey game for Agent Malin. And it's going to be Border Patrol versus the local PD. So you'll see some of our local PD guys skating as well. And we will, excuse me, and that is going to happen up at J Peak. And the date is in March, but I am going to post that on our Facebook page as well. And it's just a benefit for Malin's family. So I would encourage people to come up and check it out. It's free admission. They're going to have a silent auction. They're going to have a 50-50 raffle. All the benefits will go directly to the agent's family. But it should just be kind of a good time to get together. So that is happening in March, and I will put the dates out.
Yeah,
when I
get
it.
those dates so I can spread those around
Yep.
as well. Are they going to be like pom-poms there? Like, I mean, is this like green little giants or whatever that movie was?
There will certainly be some people there that can play some really good hockey, and then there'll be some people like myself that can't play hockey very well, but we'll have a good time nonetheless.
Good. It sounds like fun, and I'm glad you're doing that for
Yeah.
the family. That is absolutely wonderful. I know we just went through the budget. The budget was approved. We have some good things happening now. Your particular budget, you really worked hard on it, and I thank you, and I thank the people for approving it. Now it's out, of course, for the vote.
Right.
But there were some important things in your budget that are needed.
Yeah.
Can you pinpoint some of them so the people understand?
Yeah, I think one of the most important things in the budget this year, and I had put it in our annual or my annual report, was the need for upgrading of our tasers and our body cameras. They are outdated since 2017-18. We're starting to have malfunctions with our body cameras. Very important piece of equipment that we carry every day. It captures a lot of actual footage that we deal with every single day. It's very evidence-based as well. And with that comes a network where we can store our stuff. Like currently right now, we have to use all of our own data in-house to store it, and it chews up a lot of space. So yeah, that's a very big part of the budget this year for me. Everything else was pretty straightforward, but that piece was an added extra in trying to plan ahead for that. So I appreciate all the support so far from everybody on the council in passing the budget, and appreciate the support in March from the voters.
That's right. Voters, come out.
Yes, come out and vote.
Support, right? That's what we need. But no, because it's so important that your department
Yep.
does not have anything removed from it. It's, you, the fire department,
Yep.
you're out there, your lives are on the line, you're keeping everybody safe. And, you wake up in the morning, like I wake up in the morning, if I'm tired, I have a cup of coffee. You wake up in the morning, cup of coffee maybe, but it doesn't matter. You
Right.
still have to be like so astute.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's such a different disciplinary system, and I'm in awe of what you do. I really am. So as far as general safety updates, we did our community forum. We did 2 of them already
Yep.
for the people, and I'm hoping that will continue going forward because those community forums are very important.
Yep.
So as new council members come on, if whether they're the same or not, please remind them
Okay.
to keep those community forums out there
Yeah.
because the education to our people about safety and who to reach out, they don't really understand what your department really does. They understand that you're there if they need you.
Right.
They understand you give parking tickets to the mayor.
That is true.
They understand that the mayor pays, but they don't really know how deep you go
Yeah.
with the training that you have on matters of human trafficking, abuse, the delicacy of how you deal with drug matters, how you work across the United States and internationally with other law enforcement venues. And can you tell people a little bit about the importance of that type of networking and training and how it helps your department?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you kind of hit it anyways with working with other agencies across the country, and it happens more frequent than probably people are aware of. And like, we need those good networks to be able to do that. Like, we're a small agency, we have limited resources, and we do have to rely on other agencies sometimes to facilitate some of those bigger bigger organized crime type circles that are happening. And, like just take the drug cases, for instance. Like, yes, they're happening in our community in Newport, but those are bigger and they're going south, either to Connecticut or Massachusetts. And, we're very limited on what we can do here in the city. But then you expand that outside the state, then we're even more limited, right? So we have to rely on agencies to help us out and facilitate some of those investigations. And it's been fruitful to do that. And, without the assistance of the drug investigations, we would not be where we're at right now. And yes, it's a battle. It's still a battle. We're continuing to fight it. And we're continuing to fight the repeat offenders that you often hear me talk about. I brought it up at the last community forum, was probably one of the top 5 things that's on the radar, right? Like, we're constantly arresting the same people for petty crimes. And typically those petty crimes will lead to something major at some point. But I know the governor addressed it in the State of the State address, and that's one of his priorities, public safety. And I think it's being heard across the state of police departments are actually doing what they're supposed to do. They're doing a decent job. They're making arrests when they need to make arrests. But then the people that are committing the crimes aren't being held accountable. And I think that's what hopefully is going to change. We'll see. But it was optimistic to hear that from the governor anyways. And those are the kinds of things that I think if everybody can do their part and not point fingers so much, it's a whole group that needs to be involved in this. The police department is a very small portion of the criminal justice system, and we enforce the laws, and if people break the laws, we arrest them, right? But there's a lot of other branches to that system that need to also step up and help out and be in place.
Based upon what you just said, that is, however you'd like to explain it, I don't know if many people understand the distinction between our city police department, the sheriff's department, and the Orleans County Department.
Yeah.
Could you kind of say, like, who's who here?
Yeah. So the Newport City Police Department, obviously our jurisdiction is the city of Newport. It's very small. It's like 5.5 square miles. That is the primary coverage area that we have. We're certified with jurisdiction throughout the whole state based on our certification when we go to the police academy. But we're paid by the taxpayers in Newport City, so that's where we do the majority of our work. Orleans County Sheriff's Department, Sheriff Harlow, has a very competent and capable staff there now as well. And they contract with towns to do patrol work. So they'll do contract in multiple towns for a set number of hours that's agreed upon by each town's government. And they'll patrol those towns, and it depends. It can be during the day, it can be at night. And then the state police is the primary coverage for the whole state of Vermont. And there's a barracks in Derby. Their range of coverage is about the size of Rhode Island, to put it into perspective. Okay. It's huge, right? So if they were to go to one side of their coverage area to the other, it's going to take them a bit to get there. So they have very limited staffing as well. So they rely on the sheriff's department and sometimes our agency as well to fill in the gaps there. But that's kind of how the jurisdictions are broken down. But it's the Northeast Kingdom is unique. It's not like this everywhere, because I travel a lot for trainings and meetings and conferences, and the police departments do not work together like they do in the Northeast Kingdom, I can tell you that. And we're very fortunate that we have the leaders that we have up here in place that can talk to each other on a regular basis, share the same concerns. We're at the same meetings. We all have the same goals in mind, and just trying to make this the best place that we can.
Yeah, I can't stress enough how important it is for our taxpayers to understand the need for networking outside of Newport, to go to these conventions, to hear bigger pictures that you yourself are experiencing, and find out how other areas deal with that and communicate and put together resources, sometimes mentors.
Yeah.
It is so important. So that is something in the budget that I hope stays.
Yeah.
And I hope that people understand that. You know, I know as a commissioner, women's commissioner, I'll go outside to different national conventions, et cetera. It's important. You know, people need to get out of the mindset of, oh, well, how does that help Newport? It helps Newport. It really does. And so I'm hoping that that, once again, is an important dollar figure in a budget that stays there. My last question is, tell me about how your department works with our youth. Like, do you go into the schools? Do they come to you? I know there's trainings. But let our residents know.
Yeah, so I think it's in the multiple levels. We have not had the Explorer program, which was a youth program designed for kids to come into the police department and kind of just see like the day in the life of a police officer. But it was a group that was organized, and they could come in, they could do ride-alongs, those things. Since COVID had happened, we haven't been able to get that back up and running, and it takes a dedicated individual to be able to head that. And we have not found that quite yet. But anyways, we do a lot of the programs like this, the event coming up, Skate with a Cop, right? Like that's a perfect target for the youth audience. We want them to come out and just have fun with us, those kinds of things. We do try to get into the schools as much as we can. Everybody knows that we have an SRO over at the local high school. Can't say enough good things about that. He's got a very good relationship with the students over there, the staff. Like if you go over there and walk around with him, it's amazing to me how many people will come up to him and talk to him like he's just another person at the school. And he's built those relationships, and those help with things that are happening in school. They have confidence in going to see the SRO if they have issues, and then even on the outside of things, we've had to call our SRO multiple times for stuff that's happened outside of the school hours and say, hey, can you help us out a little bit with this kid that we're dealing with? And he'll give us, you know, any assistance that we need. It's been super helpful in those kinds of things. The rec program does the staff, the camps all summer long. And I try to facilitate with them just like the safety and security part of it. We'll meet with the staffers beforehand, and I'll go over with them just kind of some scenario stuff and what they need to do in each situation. But just try to show up and show our face when they're doing the events at Prouty and even at Gardner Park. And yeah, I think that's kind of my favorite part of the job, is to interact with the youth and things like that. We've been involved in the teen center that's going to be up and running on Seymour Lane, and I've had a very little part. Yes, I'm on the committee and the board for that, but that's all been done by the school, the students at the school. NEK is a big part of this, and once that is fully up and functional, then yes, you will see us over there hanging out with the kids after school. They're shooting basketball, having a cup of coffee. It doesn't even matter, but those are the kinds of things that we want to do and enjoy doing.
And that's important. So when I was first elected, and after I came on, after former Mayor Barnes resigned, I met with you, and we realized the need for a facility for you. And you took me on a tour of how you're operating now in the very tight quarters, the lack of holding cells, the lack of conference rooms for privacy, for interviews, which really, in my mind, interferes with your safety and the safety of maybe victims or prisoners and the public.
Yeah.
And President Vachon of the council and myself and you, we were talking, and I know President Vachon and I worked very hard to try to get you a new facility.
Yep.
And I would like to thank the board and that the governor is on with the ROTC for approving our request. And so we're looking forward to that announcement at the council meeting coming up. CR and I mean, right? That is something that is so positive and so needed.
Yes.
Could you, So we've identified a location, we've got the agreement approved and signed off on, and we'll be making that announcement at the council for further discussion. But what's the most important part of getting a new facility for you? How does that help you, and how does it help the public?
Yeah, I think the biggest part, and you hit on it a little bit, is just the safety and security and confidentiality of victims that are coming into the office. I can't tell you the amount of times that we've had instances at the PD that are very just traumatic, I guess, for people. And when they come in there, like, they've often asked me, hey, like, can we go somewhere private, please? Because, like, there's so many people in and out of here, I don't feel comfortable doing this, right? And that should not be the case. If you're going to the police department, you should be able to go there in confidence, and you should be able to go there feeling secure and safe and not worry about who you're going to run into. Really excited for that news, honestly. Like, it's, I think I've addressed it at some of the forums. I know you and I have had multiple conversations about the need for a facility where the police department is not intermingled with public offices, people going publicly. Not everybody that is coming to the police department is in a good mindset, and we've had those instances happen as well, and it's just exposing people to undue risks at the department when they come currently. There's so many people in and out of that building on a daily basis. Like, you don't know who's in and out of there. We've had vehicles, our officers' own vehicles, get vandalized on a couple different occasions within the last few months, where they're parked out back. It's not a secure facility, and that was one of my bigger concerns as well. The space that we have currently, like, we're running out of room for our evidence, those kinds of things. Our garage space is very limited. It's hard to get in and out of there. And if you've ever been to the PD on a Wednesday, and if they're doing jury draw on a Wednesday, like what happened last week, you can't even find a place to park anywhere.
If that's called double parking, I think.
It is, absolutely. So there is so many different things that we are in need of, and I'm just really excited to hear the news. And
Yeah, me too.
no spoiler alert from me, but we'll let you announce it at the council. And
Yeah, President Vashon worked so hard with me on it, so I want him to be part of that announcement.
perfect.
But it's something that's so important for the city, and it's so important for your department, because public safety is the top priority in everything that the council does. No matter what policies are put in place, the grand finale has to be that our residents are safe.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah. So I can't thank you enough. I want everybody to know my mayor's hours are still Monday from 9 to 11 in the morning at the council room. I want to thank NEK-TV for always letting us have from the desk of the mayor so that we could keep you informed. And I want to thank our police chief, Travis, for being so informative and being so available.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you, Newport, and have a great week.